Life is in the business of creating life. It is an unfolding process of creation as we move ahead. We see and then we don't see, and then we see again. Who is the catalyst of all this? We take meaningful leaps into uncertainty on a quest to create what matters to us, what inspires us, what moves us, what changes us. Where do creations come from? Is it silence, relationship, from what's wanting to emerge? Join me, John Davidson, on this learning journey, reaching into the creative process to find the places where creations come from. Who is the catalyst? Number 2, living from the threshold of silence. In modern society, we get caught up in what is familiar, characterized by the mythological deity Kronos, the Roman god of time. Kairos Time is the time of expected sequences, time of order and plans. People of today embody Kairos Time as a do mode. But there exists another view of time that is invisible to those in this mindset. That is Kairos Time. And Kairos Time is related to beingness, not doingness. It is the time of opportunity, the time of serendipity, and the time of new arrivals. It is sensing place from a different, more macro source from which it informs the micro. Knowing, for example, the time of day from the shadows or the season of the years from the life surrounding you. It is the glimpse of patterns of energy giving rise to a certain order from the timeless. Time, as we know it, is just a mental construct of the world to avoid being controlled by it. When you seek to see truly what is here and now, another door finds you in this Kairos space. The illusionary prison bars of Kronos time evaporate, and a doorway to ultimate creativity is opened like a sacred aperture to divine providence. A latent, unembodied knowledge comes forth from having waited in the wings to be called upon as the brain quiets and stills, giving way to the bigger mind. And the stillness is like flattening the waves of consciousness, only to respond with the ripples of what life precipitates on the surface. You realize that time, as we make it up to be, is just that mental construct of the world to avoid being controlled by it. If you listen, the field will seek you. You must recognize it and mesh its presence with yours. Stay with it, attend from it, and wait for the cracks to appear until formative forces cause form. This capacity is called presencing, sensing an emerging future coming into reality through the moment. It is here where your destined being stands in need of you, like a voice calling you home to yourself, accessing your highest future possibilities, as if the future is casting its shadow on your present. Nothing is permanent or certain. Everything is in a constant flow pattern of emerging energy and information. Modern life is more context in motion than ever before, and we are in the era of flux and fast variation. It all starts with a spark. A spark is the new that is seeking to be born in you, a pregnant self overtaking the smaller past version. Like the changing of the seasons from dying to new bloom, you simultaneously seek and are sought by something on its way in. Rather than seizing the moment seizes you in perfect order. The teacher comes when the student is ready. Your rational mind cannot compute it. It can only interpret it by using existing memory. These are lenses at best, not accurate perceptions. We must tune your full array of inner instruments and intelligences, your open mind, heart, and your will. Grand will, Martin Buber called it, to lead from the future as it emerges. I simply step out of time, where opportunities could be 1 cubic millimeter away from reaching me, and work from the vast spaciousness of now. This phenomenon is the eclipse of keen awareness of what is going on. My fresh mind deepens my attention to my heart's intentions. The place ahead, the future that needs me to bring it into the now, my destined being and keen sense of what I truly am in service to emerge from the deepest part of me. For example, what does this sentence want me to do as it comes into existence through my creativity? The more I write this out, the stronger its voice speaks to me, like an actor consolidating a large ensemble into one nuclear source. I realize that it is separate from me. It becomes an itch I have to scratch like a lottery ticket waiting to reveal its secrets. As my sentences emerge into form, their voices become co-creative symbiosis. This grows like a surrounding cocoon and permeates my attendance with it. My attention dances with the winds of the creations flagging me to them, using the signposts ahead to tease me into picking them up along the way. What is out there, beyond my visible spectrum? From where do my thoughts and urges of these new emerging forms originate? I am human, so I can only see 200 feet ahead with the aid of my headlamps at night. But what lies beyond the perimeter of this peripheral mystery? The big world is the other side of my headlamp's light, big and ominous, and the full pie is ahead, and yet I am limited to 1 millimeter slice of what I can see. What lies beyond is yet to be seen. All I can do is come out into the light and accept mystery's invitation to precipitate what's coming next. I can lean into this knowledge as it comes into my beams. I can enter with dynamic urges moving through me like a macro to micro transgression. I can turn toward these spaces with alacrity, throwing down a welcome mat for whatever the moment is going to bring. I will enter the space with the courage to connect with life on its own terms. I will stick with the emerging future possibilities that need me to seek them. I am in the world, and the world is in me. To this, I am the reverent one. But you wrestle with the serendipitous drop-ins life imposes on you. You expect things to go right, while the tides of life just pulled you left. What do? Is it will, or is it willingness? Is it push, or is it pull? Which voice do you surrender to? When is the right time? How do you know? Can you trust your next decision? You can sense it with your hands, like sculpting. You seek to know by feeling it. An overriding guide works its way in and permeates your every move. It's predictable intuition. They say you can sense it while you comprise your journey, like surfing. You combine your intentions to ride with what the wave itself is commanding. As a life-building principle, it is easier said than done. But most of us have grown up to steer away from these inner pings that are trying to guide us, and instead we close off our hearts and pay the internal price. Many developing civilizations live reverently in this Kairos space. I believe that this explains why they tend to be more spiritually inclined. Kairos is the shift to the ultimate creativity, the breath of life that presents what is coming in us. But we who are not in this space are held back by three inner enemies: our voice of judgment, our voice of cynicism, and our voice of fear. They are each two-sided and form the main inner resistances to change. They act as manual overrides of our open mind, heart, and will. Our nature is to serve others and is embodied by a connection to these higher places. We can easily encounter our best self and true work on this planet, but we lock it out, running to safe ground for protection. Spiritual starvation sets in, along with emotional bypasses that lead us to numbness. We can have all we want in life, but when our possessions obtain a hold over us, we do dark things. We fail to be in service to others as we are truly shaped to be. We don't use failures as assets, instead allowing them to become deep wounds factored into our concepts of who we are, the way life is expected to be, and our assumptions of other people. We begin to relate with the realities we can see, do, and have through this lens, as we absence what is actually right here and now. We edit ourselves, and the life that's here. We get trapped in self-absorption and polluted memories from which our reflexes loop us backwards, away from our highest future possibilities. These patterns are the cause and effect of a larger system that influences us the most, like moving parts of a greater whole. We begin to realize that we can recognize the patterns, but to suggest changing them is fighting against the idea that nature is not controllable this way. We must learn to shift the sources from which our attention arises if the landscape of undermining patterns are to lead towards sustainable accomplishment. We must become aware of the oneness between the observer and the observed, and acknowledge the role the microscope has in viewing the subject matter if the new change is likely to emerge in the natural order. It is not what we see, but rather the inner place from which we are looking that has the greatest impact on what something appears to be. You are listening to The Catalyst, which is an audiobook version of a 3-year learning journey of a book that I chose to write for my 3 children, Michael, Hannah, and Camila, my greatest teachers. It would be an honor to have you go online and purchase it. If you like what you're hearing here, you can do that by going to lulu.com, LULU.com, and search for The Catalyst by John Davidson. It is a hardcover book. It's beautiful. It's great as a coffee table edition, and you can pick it up anytime in any particular place. You can go to any page, and I'm sure you'll find some wisdom there. I would be honored if you would purchase my book. It is at lulu.com. Our levels of awareness are the single biggest leverage point for affecting change in any human system. We exist and behave within larger living systems anyway, so why not become aware? Yet most of us are so busy, we're checked out, that we are in a coma. We find ourselves moving outside, yet static inside, isolated, alone, stuck, lifeless, and immobilized like a round of emotionally faked, lifeless sex. This is not helping our ability to contribute to the world that we owe what we love to. When we are happier, we belong and we make a difference. It is our greatest source of energy to do what we are meant to do and serve who we are meant to serve. Everyone is the carrier of a sacred project, a surge. And instead of following the call, we close off the valve and withdraw into our false self for protection, ensuring we still feel special. We fear we are ordinary or worse, and very few people know us deep down. We use pretense and fakery as if life were a great costume party of masks to notice our significance. Masquerading is risky business, and it has a chokehold on our heart. It is an obstruction. If you do not think this manifests physically, think again. A blocked artery is a starved heart. What holds you back from truly serving another person and helping their gifts get to the world? Is it opening your heart? What is in the way of operating from another person's interests first instead of your own? What brings you from being a taker to a giver? What prevents you from being a channel for grace to reach others? Greed? Most do not like admitting this, but some part of you feels there is not enough to go around. A wrathful heart? You are so built up that you, flaring with anger and resentment, disconnect anyone getting close without first becoming a prickly porcupine that no one can hug. Or maybe a sense of entitlement. Be honest. Do you feel you are entitled to more? Just the thought of being ordinary makes you sick. You always wanted to know you were special. Or perhaps the fear of humiliation. Do you fear ending up a sucker? Do you dread looking like shit and being embarrassed? You would never want to be lessened because it could mean that all of that insecurity you have is right. So you tuck in your vulnerability. Instead of connecting, you shut down. Or maybe you're looking for confirmation. Are you one who is ashamed of something so much that you've convinced yourself of how unworthy or inadequate you are? At that point, you begin to protect a false self to offset your secret self, like putting on synthetic protection over your genuine identity. Your ideals become shaped by your negative beliefs about yourself, which causes you to use people as objects to confirm how superior you are. Much like the Phantom of the Opera, you fight the same spiritual battle inside. The Phantom enslaved the girl in his quarters to complete himself, while his wiser heart's intention fought with love to let her go. All of this means that instead of opening the heart, you hide in the mental route, until one day a mystical experience forces you to your knees, and a deeper reverence enters your periphery. Only then will you listen with humble inquiry to your heart saying, "Do this, do that." Only then will you look upon the world from a place of sheer amazement and beauty, and only then will the source from which you see the interior condition of you shift your experience. Even worse, the mental route flourishes when life is within our demands, controlling and manipulating reality to keep or to give into your whim. It should have been like this, or it should have been like that, you say. These are expectations. Expectations are like premeditated disappointments. They unsettle you, but you must let go. Let something new and more needed reach you. You must let the people around you be who they are, right now. If you come into this moment with nothing to think or expect, no stories, no, well, I am this way, therefore life should have taken me that way, then you have a better chance to create what matters to you. The universe orders up what happens to you, not your subconscious mischief. All your subconscious wants is for you to be honest with it, so it can be resourceful. You can make a fundamental choice to become the predominant creative force in your life, to orient yourself this way to life is yours, not circumstances. Do not believe your own thoughts. What you see habitually is a download from past programming around who you think you are and what you think the world is supposed to be. Instead, use your quality of awareness to invalidate concepts that deceive you from seeing reality fully and purely. When you wipe the window of your current observation of reality and concepts, it is as if the reality is given license to change you. You come into being when you see more accurately the reality that is here and accept what it is at this moment. Acceptance suggests acknowledgement, not agreement. Oftentimes, reality plants a wild card in your life. Do not argue with reality, good, bad, or ugly. Use reality in your favor by giving in to what wants to emerge in conjunction with the deepest intentions of what you want to bring into being. Eclipsing both of these into a co-creative way of being, where will and willingness shake hands, is where the finest quality of being and expression exists. The word leader means to step from one threshold or territory to the next. This 2,000-year-old Indo-European meaning is to die. Paired together, leading implies that something must die in order to step from this territory to the next. This is the principle of letting go to letting come. It is no different than cleaning your closet, your relationship, or whatever is exhausting itself on its way out. Prompt and seek, although it is still indistinct, what is on its way in and coming into being, what is needed of you, what is waiting within you to be born. Let the new permeate your membrane, surrender to it, and keep on the path. There are 3 ways to stay with this place. The first is standing still. You need a place of intentional silence and grounding each day to shut off your mind and just be with what is here. Second, as you enter the world of others and they look back at you, inquire with a deep curiosity that reaches out from your heart. As you do this more and more, you'll be able to learn with more conviction as it will begin to feel natural. You will find that as you listen empathically from others' conversations with life on your editorial, your heart will say where to go next. Lead from there. Start by helping them see their vision ahead. Make it safe for them to discuss their biggest dangers and best opportunities. Most of all, draw out what excites them most, their greatest sources of confidence. Whenever you bring someone else into union with what has heart and meaning for them, you're giving them soul service to draw forth their gifts. These are the ingredients from which you can reach out and create value. Most profoundly, you can sense your emerging future coming into the moment too. It is this movement from the heart to the space where neither past nor future lie, just nowness. And that is the number one capacity for all leaders in the era of flux, the modern age. This is the space where time and destiny meets. It is Kairos, that time of the opportunity. Finally, carry a vision of the future that you seek to create. Know what matters to you, not what should matter, but what does. And better yet, carry a picture of the future that manually overrides the petty waste of attention you put into materialism. Stay put. Stay with what is most compelling to do. Marinate in this picture and let it do its work for you over time. As this perseverance unfolds, your vision gathers steam and forces, making it a must. You cannot help but act upon a necessary aim for others in the lane of your vision to contribute. This is the juice and the joy of life, to enter from the source of what does matter to you, not what should, to be true to your desires and dreams deep down and living by your deepest convictions, to organize your life around this centerpiece from which everything is drawn. It is not what the vision is, but what it does to you, and nothing disqualifies you from choosing what matters, only you. Happiness is the booby prize of bringing to existence what matters so much to you. I cannot think of any better way to live and do great work for the world than to commit yourself to this generative love you receive when you love what you do. You owe this gift to the world, and if you stay put, you will do it better than anyone else alive. I guarantee it. The world is asking you to be true to yourself. That's where you belong. The world is in need of the highest quality and the most useful human beings that will save the tomorrows for our future generations. And their adhesion to this higher place produces a quality of action and attention that the future generation of mankind depends on to sustain and evolve. You've been listening to The Catalyst with John Davidson. If you'd like to purchase the Catalyst book, just go down below this video, and in the description part you will find a link. You can click there for lulu.com, and you'll find the hardcover of the book The Catalyst that I have written for my 3 children. I so appreciate the opportunity to be on this learning journey with you, and I encourage you to continue listening to these audio chapters of The Catalyst. Thank you so much.